Good morning everybody, welcome to a new week here on the Aussie Lawn. I'm Brenton, and in today's episode, because it's so wet outside, I thought we'd take a little break from the yard and we'd jump back into the workshop, and I thought I'd do a little review and walk around of that Toro Greensmaster 1000 in the background here just behind me. I'm just about to check this rain gauge to see what we had. Look, we didn't get a huge amount of rain last night, but we got a nice steady amount of rain, and that's probably the most important thing. And at this stage, we're setting ourselves up to enter into a really nice spring. So I'm a little bit excited about that. So it should be a good season for growing grass and getting good results. And so let's have a look what's in this gauge, and then let's jump back down into the shed and we'll start our little look at this Toro Greensmaster 1000. Again, we only got 6.5 mils here in the gauge. As I said, not a lot, but there's still more to come. So look, we're going to take whatever we can get. Still a better start to the season this year than it was last year. So, yep. Righto, so I'm sure most of you would understand that this needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever. Probably have to be one of the most well-known professional greens reel-powered mowers, walk-behind reel-powered mowers that has ever been in existence. Now, my history with these things goes back a long time. Back in the day when I was an apprentice, so that would have been in the mid-90s, lifetime ago, we were building a course. So I did my apprenticeship at an 18-hole course that then demolished 9 of the 18 holes, but then built another 9 holes, so it became a 27-hole course. And we bought one of these things, and me being the apprentice quickly became very acquainted with this machine. So I used to cut 18 greens with this thing every couple of days, and got a fair degree of fitness out of that. So have spent a crazy amount of time behind one of these machines, and at the time never thought that I'd actually own one, but forward track to today, and I do, and here it is, and I've got to be honest, I absolutely love it to death. Now, these would have to be one of the most simple machines I think that that has ever been created. I mean, it's professional, it's solid, it's sturdy, but it's not high tech. It's not over-engineered. It's just designed to do the job and do the job really well, and it does that. Now, take that catcher off. This one here has actually been optioned with the grooming reel as well. So that is not a standard thing, but it's a handy thing to have, so you can basically groom and mow your turf at the same time. And when you don't want to use it, there's a few knobs that I'll show you in a minute. You can lift, that just lifts the grooming reel up out of the way, and you just mow as regular. So yeah, that's a good little feature. So as I just mentioned, there's these 2 adjustment knobs on each side. Now these do 2 things to this grooming reel here. Number 1, actually raises or lowers the depth at which the groomer is. And this side lever, now I probably have to pull the wheel off to do this. This side lever, when I bring this around, you'll see that that's what actually lowers the groomer down. So you do that on each side, obviously. But yeah, probably have to be the wheel off. This is obviously all part of the grooming mechanism as well. This particular machine is running a rather dirty at the moment 11 blade reel. Now the 11 blade reel is, I believe, standard. There was an optional 8 blade reel, I guess if you were mumming tees or something like that, a little bit longer, and I think there was a 14 blade reel as well. Very simple sort of design here. So basically this lever here, I'll just come around this other side, is your reel engagement. So it just simply engages the reel there. As I said, this here is your other grooming reel adjustments. Obviously, if you don't have the groomer, you won't have these 2 adjusters on the machine. Now, this is probably about the same age as the one that I used to use. This one's probably a mid-90s machine, and the design didn't really change until I think recently, when it's just been totally discontinued. Now, this was one of the last machines to have, I guess, a more fiddly quality of cut adjustment. So this was right on the changeover, I've been told. So quality of cut adjustment is the reel to bed knife adjustment. So the updated machines basically have, I guess, a click wheel. So you'd put a spanner on here and you'd click it one click and you'd turn that one click, and that would be like one little nip of the adjustment of the reel. So that was probably a better way to do it with. Where if this one, you're slackening off this tensioner bolt, then you're actually adjusting the reel each side. So, you know, look, that's probably a little bit more fussy than the updated system, but still. Oh, look who it is. Hello, Ben. How are you, mate? Now, up here, simple controls is brake engage. I don't think I've ever used it. And this is basically your traction gauge here. So this will start the whole show going, drive, and if the reel lever is engaged, it'll start that going too. Now, come around the back of the machine here. This here is your engine throttle, and I just run these ones at full noise, and engine on and off switch. That's as complicated as these machines get. Transportation wheels here, so all you're doing is dropping this little bar down here like so, and little catch here releases the wheels. Now you can actually remove these if you aren't transporting the machine and you've just got it basically from a shed to your lawn. You can remove those to get closer to things, but keep in mind these machines were never really designed to be home machines, so they weren't ever really designed to get nice and close to walls or stuff, because there's not too many walls close to a putting green. So wheels come off, then it's just simply a matter of, as the rain starts to fall again, lift that up. That's it. Now she's ready to go. That's as complicated as it gets. Right, that's another thing worth pointing out. If you are in the market for one of these, something to keep in mind, these mowers were built around a motor. Now, if this one here is running the Kawasaki motor, the later ones towards the end of the 1000 series were running a Subaru motor. But they have an internal reduction sort of a gearbox, I guess. And if you're buying one of these secondhand, you've got to be sure that the engine's running tip-top, because you can't just unscrew this one and put a Honda on it or put a Briggs & Stratton on it. They just don't work that way. The mower's been built around this motor, so at best it's a rebuild. At worst, it's a replacement motor through Toro, and it's not going to be a couple of $100s. I think these machines around the new sort of price, around about $12,000 plus options, so things like headlights. I think Ben Sims's one's got headlights on it. This one's got a grooming reel on it, depending on what reel you're running with it. So yeah, just depending. Scrapers, you can put scrapers on the rollers to keep the grass and dirt off. So very customizable, but keep in mind, if you're looking for one, understand that if the motor dies, you've got to either repair this motor or you've got to buy a new one to suit. You can't just put any old motor on. Doesn't work that way. Some of you may be aware there's another walk behind greens mower that Toro do called the Flex Series. Now, basically what that means is the cutting head can be disengaged to run independently of the actual mower, so the head can actually contour onto the ground. So perhaps on the back of my green you can see sometimes there are some sort of areas where it digs in a little bit because of the unevenness. Now, according to Toro, the Flex machine's going to alleviate a bit of that, but that's got its own set of pitfalls, and it does potentially limit it as to a homeowner's mower. And getting wet, so I hope you really appreciate me standing in the rain for you. Things to keep in mind: this has a height of cut range between the 2 or 2.3 or 2.5 millimeters up to 25 millimeters or 1 inch. On the Flex mower, it goes, I think, from 2 millimeters to 7.5. And then apparently later on there became an optional high mow kit, and then you could run between 7.5 millimeters and 25.5. So for my money, this was a better machine because it was the better all-rounder. There was less to go wrong with it, and that was one of my big selling points. Well, one of the big reasons I specifically hunted a Toro Greensmaster and the 1000, and it was an earlier machine that I wanted. I guess there was a bit of nostalgia there as well. Let's relocate into the shed, because yeah, it's getting a bit heavy again now. I just want to say at this point, if you're watching this from overseas, so America or Europe, and you're asking yourself, why do these Australians get so excited about rain? Well, the simple answer is we just don't generally get much, any, compared to you guys or just in general. And in these rural areas such as where I'm at, it doesn't rain. Like we've just come out of a really bad drought, so this is really exciting stuff for us, and yeah, it's so good to see. So that's why you always hear Australians get so excited about rain. What advice can I give you guys if you're actually in the market to buy one of these things? And how did I come across this? I was actually looking one night for a 20-inch Scott Bonner, the holy grail of, domestic cult following mowers, the 20-inch solid unicorn as they call it, especially with these Scott Bonner restorations people. I was searching for one of those, and I just thought, I'm just going to punch in Toro for a moment. Sure enough, this one turned up. So I was pretty much in the car the next morning, and I got there and it had full service history, full records. It would have had to be in the buy of the century. So look, you can buy these things through Toro. If you wanted to go down that road, Toro sell these things fully factory checked and sharpened, and basically pull the cord and off she goes. Obviously you're going to pay a bit of a premium for that, but if you just want the mower and the way the prices of Scott Bonners are going, if you've got a bigger, larger, probably flatter area, this is probably a good thing to do. But if you've got more tight areas and smaller areas and getting up close to houses and stuff, I don't really think this is going to be ultimately suitable, because you're going to find yourself still going around the perimeter of your lawn with something else. But anyway, so yeah, that's it. I was looking for something else at the time when this turned up, but when I saw it, I went, it's going to be now or never, because this was actually before a lot of people were looking for these. So it sat there for a while. The bloke said he had it on there for about a week or so and didn't have very much interest at all. And yeah, lo and behold, I just happened to find it, and the rest is, as they say, history. Now, things to look for when you buy one of these, providing the motor. I reckon that would have to be the biggest thing, because I was sort of told to rebuild that motor is around about $900,000, somewhere there to rebuild it. So that can blow things out quite much. Everything else, providing the reel's in good shape, look, once you've got the machine, everything else after it isn't going to be that expensive. So look, if you see one, don't think about it too long, because someone else will see it and just buy it and worry about it later on. So my advice is, if you want one of these and you see it, don't delay. Otherwise, if you want to get down the road of paying marginally more, go to the Toro website, pre-owned equipment, and you'll find Flex 21s, you'll find 1000s. They do make a 1600, but you won't see, I don't know any of them. There might be one or two in Australia. Never seen them. Never even seen one on the golf course. We had these. Every golf course that I've worked at had these, bar one that ran the John Deere equivalent. And I'm a big fan of John Deere, but I didn't actually enjoy using that machine. I think by the time I got to the John Deere, I was already too converted to this and far too comfortable with it. And look, it's stuck with me all these years because I've got my own. Anyway, guys, look, just a bit of something different today. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you here next time on the Aussie Lawn.